Dun, 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 and the magic machine tells me that I am live, and we see that we have someone in the live chat with us. Jilly Beans, says hi all. We say hello to Jilly Beans, and I hope that my audio is okay. Okay, there you go, and we will. There you go. All right, and I hope that everything is moving accordingly, and we will trust that it is. Okay, so RPG, hashtag RPG irony. It is now that I find myself trying to learn 5e overnight. Because, get comfortable for a minute. I don't want to touch the third rail. I don't want to get involved in controversies. The last video that I uploaded or live stream that I made to this channel, to the degree that I talked about, the ongoing shenanigans that everybody is. Look, I mean, if you're on, look, and I don't begrudge people being human. Humans are humans, and humans do as humans do. We're pack animals. And topics of the day are topics of the day, and topics of interest are topics of interest, and people are, have personal investments, and people, have their experiences, and I may look at things as they unfold and say, this is much ado about nothing, or people who don't have a horse in this race are being dragged into this stuff, and we say hello to Jonah's side, and we say hello to Rugged Source joining us. Thank you to those who come and support us, and support the streams. It is appreciated. um the And it's not for me to say that people should or should. And we say hello to the spiked axe. Hello. It's not for me to say that whether that people are watching these videos about the ongoing controversy about the open gaming license and the SRD and Wizards of the Coast, whether they're going to rescind it or not, or whether their actions are legitimate or not, or whether they're crushing creatives, or whether they're being fair or not fair, or what's happening or not, and whether people are being legitimate in their analysis, or whether they're just out for the views, whatever. I mean, looking at it 1,000 times, it got me nuts, and I thought about just making a video addressing this issue or that issue, and then overall, the last video I made about was just like, I don't want. I would just rather just not chase the dragon of another, because it's whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. And what do you think, role-playing games are gonna go away? It's not. Look, it's fourth edition, right? We've been here before. 2008. Dungeons and Dragons is gonna go away. Pathfinder became, for a brief period of time, the number one role-playing game in the world. Was not. And there's some people, the number one role-playing game in the world is not Dungeons and Dragons. It's actually called, okay, whatever. And anyway, none of this shit touches fucking Monopoly. Like, it's a game, folks. This hobby of ours, this hobby of ours, this chess thing, this shit is our shit. What, our hobby? Man, listen to yourselves. Come on now. This is a fucking game, homies. Fucking splash some water on your face and come down to earth. And if you're an actual creative, if you've got skin in the game, if you're creative and you've dealt with contracts with WotC, and you've got, grievances, or you've been, running some things, or you got things to say, I'm not talking or addressing you. I got nothing to say to you, because you've got contracts, or you got skin in the game, or whatever. But for the people who are like, how can WotC do this? Wizards of the Coast do this to the players? It's like, they're a corporate company and they're trying to make money and they're trying to exist, and you think that they're fucking making enough money? The people are like, they made this much money and that's enough money and they want to make more. And half those bros who were saying that shit, those guys are the Donald Trump motherfuckers who are like, capitalism, greed is good, greed is good, greed is good. And look at what Watson's trying to do. They're going to strangle a hobby. Those liberal Jew-ass, commie, pinko, lesbian, dyke-ass motherfuckers. They think that way. Man, come on now. This is crazy. Everyone's crazy. I don't want to deal with it. But whatever. You're going to go and all these people. I'll tell you another thing. Gamergate lived through that shit. The Adpocalypse lived through that shit. The shadow banning lived through that shit. All these people always say, we're going to do our own thing. We're leaving this thing, this corporate. We're tired of this corporate people breathing down our back, crushing us. The people are going to go. The people are going to go do this. We're sick and tired of YouTube controlling everything. We're sick that we're going to go to Gab AI. We're going to do this. We're going to go over here. We're going to Rumble. We're going to go over here. This guy, we're not going to do this. They're not going to tell us what to do anymore. We're going over here. And you know what happens? All nothing. Everyone says they're going to go somewhere, and then you know what they do? They try to go somewhere. The audience does not go with them. Therefore, the money does not go with them. And then you know what people do? They come on back. And I'm not saying that that's the way it should be. I am procreative. I am a Bernie kind of guy. I'm not a Trump guy. I'm not like Mr. Capitalism. Like my last video, if you thought that I was like Mr. like, yo, fuck and money, I'm saying like it's the market. Like, don't blame Watsy. Like, if you want to share and share, like, I'm down. The commie liberal weirdos are down to share. You want to go commie? You want to go socialist Democrat and let's, like work share some shit? We're down. I thought that you guys didn't want to do that. I was under the impression that you guys wanted to do the capitalism thing. If y'all want to just like break down Watsy and we'll take it over and what do you want? Like occupy Watsy now? Like, are you down with that? Like, you want to occupy now? Like, is that what you're down with? Like, yo, I don't think anyone's, because just like Occupy, people say like, we're doing this, we're occupying, fuck this shit. And then, what happens? I don't know what happens. Something happens, nothing happens, and then people pack up and they go home. And I'm not saying that that's the way I think it should be. I'm not saying that that's the way I want it to be. I'm not trying to set an intention in that direction or nothing. I'm just saying that's the way I classically have observed it to be. And what are my empirical observations? I mean, look, and the bottom line is this is why I held up the 4th edition book, is just to say, like, shit's going to remain, probably. It's probably the case that tabletop role-playing as we know it in 2024, 2025, and 2026 will closely resemble what it looked like in 2022, 2023, and 2021. Probably. Yeah, more or less. Some changes. You know what I mean? Like if things change, new editions happen, people go in different directions. But if Dungeons and Dragons are going in a different, digital sphere, if they're going from the tabletop to the digital sphere, they're doing that for a reason. And I know people love to act like, yo, this Miller chick, she's a chump, she's a bitch, she's a douchebag woman, she doesn't know what she's talking about, she's a good whatever. Like, you know what I mean? Like, has anyone ever put you in charge of a multinational corporation? If the answer is no, then you can say fuck all you want to about the chick that's currently ahead of Watsy, but people who run shit have looked at her and said with confidence, we like her, in a way that apparently No one in a position of power in the world has looked at you. And I'm not trying to say that to be like, yo, fuck you. And, you piece of shit. And like, you're a real piece of garbage. But it's trying to say like, y'all, like, people love to like sit there. It's a joke. People love to sit there in their tighty whities and their fucking wife beater, their fucking spaghettios, and look at people who run shit in the world like this broad who runs Watsy. No offense. You want to take a look at her life? You want to take a look at the inside of her life? I don't know if she gets upset about the shit that people say about her online. She may or may not. I've never seen any fucking like down home interviews with this gal, but all I see is the pictures that everyone sees of her being like, do you know what I mean? That might very well be here 24 hours a day, because I have a feeling that her paycheck is one of these paychecks. It's like a fucking paycheck. Like, you know what I mean? Give me her paycheck, and you get all that shit that people say about her, you say about me twice. But I'll tell you another thing. Knowing me, give me 3 times her paycheck, I'll run that company into the ground 5 times as fast. Whatever you think bullshit she's doing with that company, I'll fuck it up 3 times. I don't know what the fuck to do with a multinational corporation. Everyone thinks that they do. Right? Everyone's out here in D&D land being like, this gal, this guy, look at this guy from Hasbro. They moved this guy. Oh, he's from fucking digital. What the fuck? Yo, I know you think you know better than these guys, but you want to make your decisions not based on making money for a company. I get it. You want to make like it's the Rome, like it's like you're doing it on behalf of the holy church of fucking role-playing games. But guess what, homie? The only reason the role-playing games are here is because of companies staying in the corporate game. If smiling ass bitches like hadn't come out of the woodwork and bought fucking the TSR from fucking nerd ass dudes like Gary Gygax, you know what I mean? This shit would have fucking might have gone away. Maybe, probably not too, right? Someone would have bought it. But everyone loves to look askance and be like, oh, yeah, you don't know what they're doing. They're doing this shit. You don't know if they're doing what they're doing, they're doing what they're doing for a reason. And here's the deal. Yo, you don't like a system that says they made this much money, but they're trying to make more money and they're trying to make more money and squeeze the maximum amount of money, then you don't like capitalism. I'm not an advocate for capitalism. I'm with you. I get it. Like, then you don't like the market either. Like, fuck it. Like, okay, great. You know what I mean? Okay, so what do you want to do? Like, I guess you start off like, so I guess the starter kit is we get you some black Sharpies and a padlock and we got to start listening to some Godspeed You Black Emperor. And why you want me to get you a black mask? You know what I mean? Like a Nick Cap. Well, I mean, no, it's a joke. Whatever. Anyway, gotta keep an eye on the time. Plenty of time. But I've not even gotten to the story about why I got to cram 5e, why I got to learn 5e. But I don't mind buying 5e. First of all, over the Christmas break, I bought a ton of 5e books. People are like, how are you going to support Watsy? Oh, you're done supporting Watsy? Okay, no problem. Because of what they've done? Because what they do? And all these people. Oh, here's the other thing. People are mind readers too. Did you know that? I didn't realize that I was under the impression that in order to enjoy the wonderful world of psychic phenomena, I either had to be somewhat delusional and or play tabletop RPGs with my friends and like experience the world of psionics or something. But apparently there's all sorts of mind readers all over the place who can tell you exactly what Watsy are thinking and why they said what they said in a document. Here's the other thing. Okay, and the last thing I'm going to say, and I'm going to get this because this is like specifically what I didn't want to do. I didn't want to make a video about this whole fucking topic because everyone's running their mouth. No one knows what the fuck they're talking about. Check this out. Man, I'm going to help people because this is the thing. So many role-playing lawyers. Oh, man, don't do this. not only is this OGL SRD issue an intellectual property law issue, it is we say hello to Tim Frey, if I didn't say it before. It is a heavy duty intellectual property law issue. It is an international intellectual property law issue. It is an intellectual property law document, the likes of which, if a major issue came up with it, it probably wouldn't be adjudicated at the level of a state. It would obviously go to like a federal review and maybe even go to the Supreme Court. Who knows? But like so you would not only need to be an intellectual property attorney to do a proper analysis of this document. You would probably need to be an intellectual property attorney of like some real caliber. Meaning the most appropriate thing for most lawyers out here to do, who are not intellectual property attorneys to do when it comes up, is to simply say, hey folks, I know you know that I'm an attorney and you know that I'm a role player, and this issue about, the OGL SRD has come up, but I'm not an intellectual property attorney. So the best thing for me to do is to tell you that this is a heavy issue of intellectual property. It's a heavy issue that would require a specialist to analyze. I'm not a specialist, though I am a lawyer, and therefore the best thing for me to do, for me and you, is to remain silent on the issue. Boom. Do any of them do it? No. They all go on and on and on and on and talk about it. Why? The fame game. They're loving the fucking views. They finally have a reason to get fucking views. And why do I know that so many of these people are lawyers? How many role players out here are like, I'm Joe the plumber, the role player, right? None. How many lawyers are out here like, I'm role of law, I'm Joe the lawyer, I'm this the lawyer, role of lawyer. All these lawyers out here telling you that, why? I'm a lawyer. What the fuck does that have to do with anything? It's this stupid joke. I know what happened. You know what happened. It's this rules lawyer. I'm a lawyer who plays role-playing games. There's this joke about rules lawyers on role-playing games, so they put the two together. But here's the problem. Here's the issue. To discuss legal issues on the internet is a big fucking deal. Every fucking state in the union has rules and regulations about attorney advertising, about attorney, conduct, about all these things in regards to these things. And if you think that it's just, this is not legal advice, is the be all end all and that ends it, these guys and gals, they did not take that into consideration. All they took into consideration is, hot diggity damn, finally, I think, well, look, I'm not a mind reader either. Let me step back. My passions may have taken hold. Let me not make the mistake I'm accusing some people of making. I'm not a mind reader. So let me provide a caveat and say, I think that it may be the case that some of these people are simply impassioned by seeing views on their videos, by seeing the frisson of activity, that they can, participate in, that they can have some more relevance in, that they think, or that's perceived, and get something out of it. And that's fine. And like I said, I don't begrudge humans being humans, but people, you can screw it up, because if any of these people touch any of the third rail issues with, any of the fights between the social justice warrior and the conservative bros, or the, race versus species, word debates, or any of that stuff, you make the wrong enemies online, it can go south. It can go south in a lot of different directions. And if you're not a solo practitioner, if you're not insulated by your lifestyle, if you work in a corporate structure, if you work in some sort of governmental structure, the wrong phone calls, the wrong, harassment campaign can really jam you up 6 ways till Sunday. So I think there's a lot of people who got out here and, just mentioned the fact that they were a lawyer, had no problem having their career associated with their YouTube, because their career was associated with their YouTube account, but their YouTube account was just what? It was just a role-playing game channel. Well, now you're talking about legal issues, right? And now some of you guys are talking about documents that may be leaked documents. Okay. And it's not for me to put paranoid thoughts in anybody's head. It's just for me to say, hey folks, if you're not an intellectual property attorney, you're not an intellectual property attorney. Why bother running your mouth in front of people that the only thing that you're going to do is rely upon your this is not legal advice. If it's not legal advice, then why are we talking? Right? Do people need another unsolicited? And that's the other thing for the players, for the audience. Are you overly intrigued by the minutia of intellectual property law? More to the point, are you intrigued by minutia of intellectual property law that may or may not actually be relevant at all, because it may or may not be the final document, and it may or may not, be agreed to by parties, and it may or may not be enforceable, and it may or may not be being properly analyzed, and the information that you're receiving may or may not be accurate, because are you vetting it? There are people that are telling you what these documents say that I can tell you, I don't know. I don't know if they actually read the document, or if they just read an article by someone who else read an article who read an article by someone else who said they read the document themselves. Because there's been plenty of times where I've looked at a video of someone talking about the SRD or OGL, and I've been like, it says what? And I've gone back and I've been like, check the number, check the referral thing to say that I'm looking at the version that they're saying to. And I've gone over it again and been like, I don't know what they're talking about. And like I said, I've thought about this issue, and I didn't want to think about this issue. I didn't want to talk about this because it gets you incensed. It gets you crazy. And I don't want to, but all I want, Meanwhile, I have a stack of 40 at my house, the size of, because I collected on principle because it's fascinating to me. It's a piece of history. All that's going to end up happening, all that's going to be created is history. And we say hello to mutate. There you go. So, 4th edition, 2008. 1st edition. I'm sorry, 3rd edition, 2000. Here's a reissue of document for the 2nd edition that was reprinted under the open gaming license. So there's questions about whether or not this sort of material is going to be able to continue forward. But so this is reprinted information for the 2nd edition. So it goes to you, like, nothing's going to go away. And people have talked about things to ad nauseum about how you can't, copyright the rules, but you can only copyright, the implementation. And does it really matter to you as a player? And meanwhile, the only thing that matters to me is the following. And we say hello to Reamsey. It goes a little something like this. Post Thanksgiving, starting on Black Friday, I noticed that there was like a fire sale on 5th edition D&D material on Amazon. It was a little heartbreaking because I knew and understood that there was going to be a ton of stuff that I was going to be picking up that I previously wasn't going to pick up. And the reason it was heartbreaking was because I knew I was going to be buying it from Amazon and not any of the nameless dude with a dream owned startup stores that I had seen, pop up in, like, this little mall or that little mall, where I'd end up having to pay, like the full, cover price, because these documents, these books weren't worth $50 to me, but they were worth some of these were selling some of these books for like 60% off. Like I bought some of these books for like $14.95, $16.95. Anyway, in addition to that, so the point was I saw this as a great opportunity to not only pick up some of this material that, look, I'm an older player and I'm more into older versions of the game than I'm into necessarily the latest iteration of the game. But if stuff's on sale, stuff's on sale. And what I also knew was that it was an opportunity to pick up stuff that might be good entry points into the hobby for my kids. I have twin daughters who are 11 years old. So I got the starter set, I got the essential set, I got like the two basic, like the beginner box sets, and I also got like the Rick and Morty themed beginner box set, and I also got like this like little like board game, like the latest iteration of the board game. Basically anything that I saw. I even got like a like a not a path, like a Pathfinder Munchkin game, like from Steve Jackson games, like anything that I thought could possibly get my kids, their toe in the water of role playing. And they knew about Dungeons and Dragons. Was where I was trying to get them in. So we got the starter set and the essential set, and so we I gave it to them as kind of a Christmas gift to the to the family, and they were like they were kind of like lukewarm to it. They were like, yeah, cool, yeah, sure, we'll play maybe, and I have a video on this channel of me saying to one of my girls like, hey, you gonna play 4th edition with me? They're like, no, whatever. So yada, but. So they were there. The box sets were there in the house, and I hadn't really thought about it. Whatever. So my wife, the other day, this yesterday, I come in the door, and I guess they had been having a discussion about what we were going to do when I got there, and so I walk in the door, and my wife goes, she goes, the one girl, she's like, she's gonna play with you. I'm like, what? She's like, it was like. I don't think my ex-wife doesn't know, she knows about Dungeons and Dragons, but she didn't really know, how it rolls. Like, hey, Charles, what's going on, baby? She didn't know that, like, I would need, like, we would need prep, or we would, like, I think she thought of it like Monopoly. She just thought of it like a game. Like she saw the kids on Stranger Things playing it, but she sees the guys on Stranger Things playing it like playing it. She thinks of them like playing it like Hero Quest. She sees them like playing it like a board game. So when I walked in the door, my ex-wife was like, oh yeah, the girl's gonna play with you. And I'm like, oh, I thought she was like saying like as a loose statement of general intent, like she's decided to play with you. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And she's like, no, like now, like that's what she wants to do today. And I'm like, oh, okay. Because if people have been following this channel, like for the most part, like I've been doing a lot of, for a couple months ago I was playing a lot of micro chapbook RPG, which is a completely different system. And then I was been doing a lot of playing like Troika and Troika characters in kind of Final Fantasy game books. So it's a different solo RPG mentality and mindset from traditional like D&D, which is like more so like the last thing that I've done, like a traditional like DM kind of experience of sitting around and trying to DM like a player or players and through a scenario would be like going back to like me being like 10 and fucking it up. You know what I mean? Like fucking it up. And certainly like I haven't played the mechanics of 5e. Like I read the books, like I read parts of the books, and like I'm definitely familiar with certain things, but like for the most part it's not something that I was like concentrating on learning as a system or whatever. So now it's like, let's go. So yesterday I sat down, like I walk in, and my ex-wife was like, yo, she's like, she's ready. She's like, that's what she wants to do. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, And I'm like, you go with the flow. And I'm like, we're going to go with the flow. And so I'm like, basically like, okay, we're not going to freak out. We're not going to tweak out, especially because what I don't want to do is I don't want to turn the child off to the experience. And one of the children are in. I got twin daughters. One of the children are in. One of the children is saying now that she doesn't want to be involved, but she's kind of hovering around. So I'm thinking, try and get them in. So I'm like, okay, well, let's talk about what we got here. I said, we got the starter set here. We got the, the essential set. I said, we got this Rick and Morty box. I said, here's what's up. I said, we haven't opened up any of these boxes. I said, there's what's going to be in here is like the rules of the game, not all of which you need to learn or memorize. I said, but there's going to be an adventure. And I start, talking, trying to get to the child, as much as, what D&D is, how it is like a board game, how it's not like a board game, what it is, what it isn't. And I'm trying to, kind of set up what we're going to be able to do, what it is, what it's not. And I'm improvising. I'm not prepared. I didn't walk in like, yo, we're going to play D&D. Because had it been known to me, I would have what? I would have prepared to DM the fucking adventure, right? I would have had my fucking Lost Minds of Phandelver, and I would have been like fucking running the adventure. Okay, here we go. 2 weeks from now, my kid is going to be, oh, here we go. This book is written for the Dungeon Master. It contains a complete Dungeons & Dragons adventure. Check. As well as descriptions for every creature and magic item that appears in this adventure. That's good. You know what I mean? I'd be like prepping and shit. You know what I mean? I'd be like, but you know what I mean? I didn't even, like, I was like in my head, I'm like sitting there and I'm talking to the kid. And as I'm improvising, like, I'm like next thing up, I'm like, okay, core mechanic. I'm like, okay, the core mechanic. I'm like the D20. I'm like, I don't know. I'm like just trying to like not bullshit. I'm like trying not to make up a lie. So I'm like, I don't know what so I'm like, so we get them open. And of course, so I'm like going through and like in one of the kits, like one of the sets, the starter set is like the initial, like the beginner box. It's like get you up, get you going as fast as possible. It's got a beginner adventure. It's got like pre-made characters, and it's got like the simplest rule set, quickest rule set to get going. So I said, let's open that one up first, and let's see if we can just, hit the ground running with that. And I got a fair amount of confidence in my ability. I'm thinking to myself, look, it's ages 12 plus, right? So I'm thinking if a 12-year-old can run the adventure with prep, maybe the 47-year-old can, like, if I'm like one or two paragraphs in front of the kid, you know what I mean? Like, hopefully, like, maybe we can make this shit happen. I don't know. So whatever. So I'm like, I don't even know what we're doing. So I'm trying to make it exciting and interesting. I'm trying to, maintain the kid's interest, yada. So we open it up and I'm looking at the, pre-made characters. And of course, I'm looking at the pre-made characters. And the first thing out of the kid's mouth is, I want to be a half dragon spellcasting princess. And I'm like, yo, of course. I'm like, of course you do. Because of course you do. Right? Because of course, in the starter set, it's like halfling, orc, half orc. You know what I mean? It's like, no. Is there a dragonborn? And I'm telling them, like, well, you know what? Dragonborn, half dragon is an option in Dungeons and Dragons. But we don't have a pre-made character in the starter set. How do you feel about an elf? And the kid's already like, I don't know about this D&D thing, man. I think I'm walking away. And I'm like, yo, wait, before you walk away, hold on. Wait, before you walk away. And I'm like, where do I go? Do I start trying to find, the player's manual? Like, do I try and find a Dragonborn character set on, like, character sheet online on my phone? Like, what do I do? Do I try and convince the kid? Like, I'm like, look. I'm like, let's do this. There's some basic rules that we don't need to have you memorize them. First of all, I knew this. I knew that this would be a disaster. I knew that if I said, look, here are the basic rules, you learn these basic rules, and when we come back, I'll have the adventure prepped, you'll have read the rules, and we'll do it. I knew that if we did that, fuck, the kid's never playing Dungeons and Dragons. It's never happening because that kid's never gonna read those rules. I said the only way that this kid's gonna, do this is that, kind of we try to do this together. So we got the starter rules from the starter set, and we're trying to read them together, and I'm trying to make it as entertaining as possible. I fucked up because it was so stupid because I had the fucking Rick and Morty um, box with me, and the Rick and Morty thing is just the starter set with just a Rickified adventure, and the rule book is got like Rick interventions. It's like got like, like it's got like pop-ups of him in it and stuff. Like he shows up and he's like, no, he's like, the reason they're doing that here is because blah. And he's just like, it's like he does like fun little things. And so if I'd done that, like I probably could have gotten, if I'd done that rule book instead of the other one as a review, I probably would have gotten more traction with especially the other kid. But we'll live and learn. So I don't know which adventure to prep, but I went over most of the rules with the kid except spell casting. I'm going back over there. I'll be leaving here in about 15 minutes. Reemsey, elf is not quite the same as a dragon. No, I can't fault her for that. She was accurate. Jelly beans, that's what I would choose. Half dragon, half princess. She's squaring the circle. I mean, it's talk about covering your bases. So where we have me now is this. I went over the initial rules with her up to, we covered combat, but we didn't get up to spell casting. That was where she kind of tapped out. I was trying to keep her engaged, and we were taking breaks. But the bottom line for me is this. At a certain point, it's going to be put up or shut up. And because she's playing or committed to play, but her sister is not, it is most likely that when I run the campaign, I'm going to have to run a NPC character to help her out, to run alongside her. Hold on. So I'm going to have to kind of have some sort of be able to do this. So where we're at now is I've looked at the rules enough times, but what we're going to have to do is eventually it's going to be put up or shut up time where I'm going to have to roll the dice, where I'm going to have to set up some things and actually, kind of, run through some mock scenarios. Do you know what I mean? Like actually do the saving throw. Do you know what I mean? Like roll the d20, add the modifier, and be like, did you shoot the arrow? Did it hit? Because or else we're going to be in trouble. In the meantime, I might be able to buy some time with the child tonight with character generation. Because we have both the starter set and the essentials kit, the essential kit does have character creation. Okay. And while it doesn't have the Dragonborn race, I did bring the I don't know if it's in the player's handbook, but I know that it's in the let me see. Yeah, no, I brought the old player's handbook which has the Dragonborn in it. So what I might do is, because what I might do is, to keep the kid interested, is I might try to run the kid into character generation tonight. Because if I can get her rolling up and personally invested in her character, then that'll take care of tonight's session. Then we'll have had two. Like, I'm a big fan of, like, if I can get her on 3 hits, I think I got her, right? So if I got her last night sitting down she sat down with me for a good number of hours, like, not like hours and hours, but it was a good amount of time, because I'm a fairly engaging guy. Like, I was making jokes, whatever. So she sat down with me and we reviewed the materials for a fair amount of time. It was her desire to kill at least one enemy. She wanted to fight at least one enemy. So what I would want to do is have her roll. Like, I had her roll. Oh my god, this guy goes back. This RPG pundit has been around since back in the day. That's hysterical. Anyway, holy shit, 2014, fucking A. Anyway, hysterical. How do you get the note? Well, don't know his life story. Anyway, pickle. Anyway, I'm in a pickle. Going 5A. I have no problem with it. I love it. But maybe I will. Underwater combat. Oh, three hits. Like, I got her. So if I got her for that, and then I can get her sitting down and personally invested in creating a character, then that'll buy me time, because it's a Sunday. Then I'll have time to prep the adventure. But then your kid's playing 5e, man. Then your kid's locked into the corporate structure of 5e. What would you have me have her play? Lamentations of the Flame Princess with the boobs and the Satan? I don't think so. She gets enough of that at home with my ex-wife. Sinful woman. Dirty woman. Only a passing resemblance to James Rogie IV. No, I'm kidding. She looks exactly like the guy. I'm kidding. Without the beard. I'm kidding. I love everybody. I can't win. I can't win from losing. I personally find the lady very attractive. But anyway, that wasn't the problem. Anyway, finding other people attractive was the problem. Find James Rogie attractive. Anyway, listen. Games people play. Listen. But not if you're my ex-wife. Don't listen to this video. Listen with that long list of videos. Anyway, where was I? In jail. Okay. I also have this. The Fizbane's Treasury of Dragons. This is like one of the 5 ebooks I was mentioning that I got on the cheap. But it's got the kid is nuts about dragons, and this book is all about the dragons, but she wants to be this half dragon character. That's Dragonborns. Dragonborns are the half dragons. And this book, this Fizbane's Dragon Treasury of Dragons, it's like you can go all in on the Dragonborns, like character creation. Chapter 1, Draconic races, creating your character, chromatic Dragonborn, gem Dragonborn, metallic Dragonborn, subclass options, monk, way of the ascendant Dragonborn, ranger, Drake Warden, Heroes of the Dragon, Draconic Feats. Draconic Magic, Dragons in Play, Role Playing Dragons. So I think I'm going to hit her off with this book, give this as a gift, and be like, see if I can get her reading this. Maybe that'll do it. And then maybe give her a player's handbook too. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And also, I got tchotchkes. I figured the other thing to keep the kid engaged is tchotchkes. I got the meeples. Got player mat. I got some of these, for the even if for dilly dallying on the these are the tokens for the friggin' on the play mat, whatever, arcane symbols or whatever. Just even if the kid is just present and futzing around with this stuff on the playmat with the hold on, also. Do I have it here? Did I move it? Shoot. Oh, I thought I had them here. The miniatures. I had the D&D miniatures here somewhere. Oh, these are other ones though, but I also have these ones. These are nice quality cardboard little standees, character pawns. Pretty good. Show you. My attitude about here's a don't call it a Maya the Mamolder. Hey, elephant in the room. What's going on, baby? How you doing? Patent pending. Strangers in the night. Watsy. Was it something you ate? Got a couple of those. Xylophone. Hey, why does the xylophone gotta be black player, man? Come on now. Politically incorrect. Come on now. Everyone thinks they're a comedian. Only some of us know it's true. Here's Spike Dax with some helpful tips. Idea for helpful NPC: a turtle cleric named Tort Oriole, who doesn't love a helpful turtle named a turtle humanoid. I love them. A turtle, of course, is a humanoid turtle. That's a lot of people that have problems with Dungeons and Dragons 5e. It's a lot of people have the problem with race bloat or species bloat. By the way, Conservabro Nation, if Wizards of the Coast substitute the word species for race, if they make that decision as a company, okay, it's their company, it's their product, and they say, hey, folks, we know we've been using the term race in these circumstances, but from now on, we're not going to be using the term race. We're going to be using the term species. We're going to be doing that. We are changing a word. We, as a company, are changing a word. If you, Conservabro Nation, go crazy about them changing a word, it's not them that are the crazy lunatics who are freaking out about just words and who need to change the world and who need to think that the world needs to change them or anything because of words. It's you. It's you that's freaking out over just words. The company has made a decision regarding their product that they can do because this is America and they're a private company and they can do whatever they want to with their product because even though it's your hobby, it's actually a product. Dungeons and Dragons is a product. Role-playing games is a hobby, You want to, have a role-playing game and call races all you want to, you can. But as far as what WotC does with the game Dungeons and Dragons, that's their right to do with their game. It's not your hobby, it's actually their game. It's not their game, they bought it. They didn't even design it, they just bought it. Yeah, that's how games work in America. Dum-dum. Were you born yesterday? I thought you understood how capitalism worked. You were telling me that I was dumb for believing in things like communism and socialism, but apparently you're double dumb because you didn't even know you were a communist. But apparently you are, because you think that everything should be shared and shared alike. I agree with you, but hey, but whatever. But yeah, if a private company changes a word and you go nuts about it, that's not them being crazy about words. That's you being crazy about words. Because there's no need for you to freak out about them changing the word race to species, because that has absolutely zero fuck all effect on your fucking game. Hello, Gen Q, what's going on? None at all. And the fact that you get upset about it indicates that you have some sort of fixation on people policing the way you talk about race. And most people don't feel self-conscious about that because most people don't get it, doesn't come up. And for those people that constantly complain about it, it's usually because people are constantly having to police them in their lives about their speech about race because they're racist. Not all the time, but sometimes. Sometimes, just talking about sometimes. Anyway, I love you. I love you. I love you. I gotta go. I told people I was gonna leave on time, so I want to leave on time. I love you. I love you. I love you. If nobody told you I loved you today, somebody just did. That somebody is Cable Guy Incognito, who will be learning 5e. 5e. I'm gonna be learning 5e, and I've got a ton of 4e, so now I have to learn 4e. And we'll all learn second E, and we'll all learn all the E's, and then we'll all learn everything, and it's all the same fucking game anyway. Did you know that? FYI, in case you're curious, I guarantee you that if you learn all the editions of Dungeons and Dragons, that essentially, how much you want to bet? Fucking same. Jesus Christ. This one they call them feats. No. This one, your sacred power engagement is called a feat. Totally different thing. Fuck off. Totally different thing. Don't be an asshole. We have 3 cards jumped out. We have actual reading today. How do you like me now? Wow. 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 How do I see these? Lay them out from lay them out. We've got, so it works differently for me than you. Okay. The Lovers. Ultimatum is the word on the bottom. I like that. In the middle, we have the Empress, creativity. I like that with the creativity. I especially like that. Wherever we go, that's oh my god! And we have the King of Wands. Look at that. We have the King of Wands leadership, the Empress creativity, and we have the Lovers, the ultimatum. We have such a fusion here. We have things coming together. And we've been talking about me and my daughter working and playing this game and making it come together. But also we've been talking about me trying to figure out and not fight with people. I'm trying to figure out how not to fight. I'm really trying to figure out how not to fight. I'm really trying to find the way through. I'm really trying to find the way through to communicate the message without combat. And it ain't easy because it's not the way I'm designed. But I see here that the king of wands, it's leadership. It's like I gotta fight. I gotta if I want to get this kid to play, I've got to lead the way. I've got to DM. I've got a dungeon master. We got to take the reins. We got to have an agenda. We got to have a plan, and we got to follow it through. I got to get the Emperor's creativity. I got to get creative. So I have to have that solar phallic drive, right? I have to have that King of Wands energy and drive, but I got to have that sacred divine feminine, be open and be creative and be able to pivot and parry and say, okay, well, do you want to go character creation or you don't want to go character creation? You want to do it halfway? You want to do this? How about you really want to fight an enemy? Okay, you want to fight an enemy? How about this? Here's the enemy. Who's got initiative? Boom, you got initiative. Just you and him. Blah, blah, blah. Who's going first? Boo, boo, boo. Strike. Miss. No. Parry, dodge, whatever. Even if I, flub the rule or make up the rule, whatever, just go. And that's, and then the card, the ultimatum. Blah, blah, blah. The lovers, because we're trying to bring it together. We're trying to make it happen. And if you see those two things I described were aspects of myself, we're trying to bring those two forces together in fusion within me. I like it. I can work with it. It provides the guidance that we need to continue on. And if I leave right now, I'll only be leaving 4 minutes after I said I was going to. Reemsey says, what is that deck? It is the Beautiful Creatures Tarot by J.R. Rivera, artwork by Jasmine Beckett Griffith. It is going to be my in-office deck, I think, for our 2023 readings, or at least for the time being. I love it. I love the guidebook. The guidebooks, I find the keywords and the expression very very clear. Let me think of. Here we go. King of Wands. So we just had the King of Wands, and all in the Beautiful Creatures tarot deck. All the archetypes, all the figures are female. Even the Emperor, the King, they're all the kings, the Emperor. They're all chicks. Even the Emperor says, wait, I don't know, that's the way they did it. I will set a wonderful example and be a true role model for you. Leadership. A radiant lioness is ready to influence you with her charm and charisma. She's ready to teach you how to be and act like a leader and how to lead things into your direction. There's more there in that line. The energy of the King of Wands is self-confident, brave, and inspiring. The king, ruled by the sun, the planet of ego and individuality, is associated with Leo, who embodies a leader archetype. Leo rules procreation and recreation. Archetype. The King of Wands denotes a person who is a rightful leader. Their charismatic nature attracts people from all walks of life, serving others as a good influence. This person does not have any difficulties in leading the way for people who will become longtime friends. Their good nature and influence will serve not only a purpose to them, but to others as well. On the negative side, this may be a person who is too flamboyant and likes to show off material belongings to others. Whoops. They do nothing good but to rub someone's face into the petty and valueless things that they own. This person is too conceited and does not care about anyone's feelings, only their own. Situation. The King of Wands represents a situation where you may want to set your charisma and charm free. This may help you to lead the way for others or for yourself. This will also help people see who you really are. You may even help someone learn how to release their happiness into the world. On the negative side, avoid being too flamboyant and egocentric and learn to have a bit of compassion for others who may have less material things than you. This will only give you a very bad reputation, and those who care about you will distance themselves from you. Keep in mind that no matter what you do, money can't buy happiness. There you go. Okay. I am out the door. Okay. I love you. I love you. I love you. Hopefully, I didn't make any too many bad enemies. Hopefully, I made make friends. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Please do. Please do. Please do. I love you. Kiss me and I'll kiss you back. Remember that tune? Good one.